Hello, I'm Amber Ford, and this is my Module 5, Understanding My Community, the USD 307 El Saline community. First of all, let's start with some of our customs and traditions. First of all, El Saline community has decades of memories that have happened. Yearly on Good Friday, we never have school on that day, and so our high school FFA always puts on a community Easter egg hunt. This year was the 15th year, and each year it gets better and bigger, and now we have um, rolled through the students that hunted the eggs are the now ones organizing the event, which is a great celebration. Also, we have a Labor Day celebration. It started back in 1870 by the Brookville Rounders Rodeo Club. They have a cowboy church and then a parade. And then in the park, there's community time for turtle races and a tractor pull and mud volleyball. And then local artists and community can share their food and crafts of whatever they would like to sell. And then at 2 o'clock, a rodeo usually starts down at the rodeo grounds, and then we end the evening with the street dance. Also, great tradition in our community is the high school athletic events. Um, the past state winners love to come back and watch as alumni their teams fighting towards the champions in either football or basketball. Then finally, one of our smaller communities has started a haunted house. The Headville Fire Station puts that on every year. They've done that for 6 or 7 years, and that's now starting to take off as well. Here is a map of USD 307. We have a large portion of our district that belongs to the Smoky Hill bombing range. So that part of our land, about a third of it, cannot be, no one can live there or businesses there. So it's a unique situation. But we do have a total population of around 1,716 people and about 675 houses. Within those households, 82% are married couples and 90% are white. Our district does have 225 square footage, with about a third of that belonging to the Smoky Hill bombing range. The median income is $73,250, but we are also having about 21% poverty within our district. The education of the population within our community, 21% have a high school graduate, 37 have some college, and 41% have a bachelor's degree or higher. Also, we are about 68.1% with broadband internet, which we continue to fight through this pandemic situation. We also have an aging community, and most of our structures are built before 1979. The communication channels, from school to the community, we have an Echo, which is a paper format and digital format that goes out to every single family with an address within our community. It describes all the community event, or all of the school events. Teachers can put things in there, as well as the calendar and special events that might be going on in the community. They can advertise within that. We do have a school website. We use Facebook and Twitter to let our community know what's happening within our school. And we also have a school messenger system that you can get a phone call or a text message about school events. All El Saline families are automatically signed up for it, but anybody in our community could request to be signed up through our district office. Within the community communication, most of that is done through social media or just word of mouth from family to family. How extensively are they used? Word of mouth is probably the best thing in our community. We're an aging community, so technology is not something that many are ready to use yet, but they're embracing at least Facebook. Our community groups within our district, we have a Cardinal Education Foundation, which is a group of 7 individuals that are business owners or business managers that coordinate fundraisers within our district to help support educational endeavors within classrooms. These business owners do not have businesses within our district, though. We are lacking in that area. We have a CPTA, which stands for Community Parent Teacher Association at the elementary. We have lots of community members that still want to be a part of that. So 25, 26 years ago, they added the C to that because it's not just parents and teachers. The high school has the traditional booster club. We have two churches within our district, one Catholic and one Methodist, but the Methodist church has created a community group, youth group, that all youth are invited to participate in every other Wednesday night, and they do some community service as well as study the Bible. The unique aspect of that youth group is now our middle school English teacher is the minister of that Methodist church, so that is growing as well. As I talked about before, we have the Brookville Rounders Rodeo Club. Their main thing is Labor Day weekend. We have one 4-H group within our district. It's the Cardinal 4-H Club. We have about 45 members in our club right now. There are also various alumni groups, such as the FFA alumni, the football alumni, and a basketball alumni group that help support those specific groups in the high school right now. Our leadership in our community, we have the Brookville City Mayor, who is Ralph Johnson, and those elected council members. We have several housing development associations within our district, and those groups also have leadership within our district in communication towards each other. And then, of course, our Board of Education. Our Board of Education currently only has 4 people on it that have kids in school, and the other 3 are young that don't have kids in the school that have moved back home and have a desire to help make a difference in education, or are grandparents or community members. As individuals, their pictures are current administrator or current superintendent, Brian Rowley, who's doing a fabulous job, but our previous 2 superintendents still live in our district, and they fill leadership roles, as well as several retired educators. We do have 3 businesses within our district, kind of unique in that one is a liquor store, one is a saloon, and one is a travel center over along the interstate. So that's a place that people go to maybe chat that word of mouth, but they do voice what they hear within their businesses. The economic condition for us, there's limited opportunities for employment just due to we're such an agricultural based community and no businesses. So most of our population have to travel to surrounding towns to work. Therefore, we have a limited taxation utilization. And like I said before, because of the agricultural base. A unique situation I feel is our income level diversity. When you look at our population, we have a lot of families at the upper class and have a lot at that lower class. Our median, that middle class is very low. So we are spread out quite a bit throughout our district when it comes to income levels. The political structure of our district, we do have that mayor and city council in the city of Brookville. We have 2 towns that are unincorporated, Bavaria and Headville. Both of those do belong to different water districts. We have our elected county commissioners as well as our Board of Education and the representatives and senators that we elect to represent our area. The social tensions in our district focus mostly, I believe, on our out-of-district students. 48% of our district are out-of-district students, and the community that have been there for a long time, generation after generation, feel like some of the problems some of the different various communities are having are due to the out-of-district students exposing our students to things from the big city, which is Salina, which in many worlds is not a real big city. A little bit of immigration to the fact that we have 2 ranches that pull Hispanic workers to work, and they provide ranch housing for them, and it's a revolving door, so they never kind of plant their roots in our community, and so there's a lot of misconceptions maybe about that culture. But we do have that dying community situation also. Brookville is the only town that's left with a post office. Our other ones are unincorporated. The elevators have closed down in them, and they're starting to look more run down. Also, with our current political situation, the El Saline school district is a very conservative community, so that brings interesting conversations at community events as well. Previous community efforts, we have limited concerns just based on our location. But when there's hardship situations, the community jumps in right away. For example, a flood came through and destroyed a lot of houses in Headville, and um, the community comes together and finds places for them to stay, gets clothes for them, finds food, as they work with FEMA to rebuild. And one of our teachers' houses got destroyed by a tornado the night of prom one year. And the next week, the whole high school were out there helping find notebooks and family treasures. And that spent that summer helping them rebuild. Our community, pulled together to support those situations. Also with medical, with cancer or fire victims that have been burnt, we take care of our own really well. Also, we had a bond issue that passed in 2009, and it really wasn't that hard work. The community really supported that effort due to the needs of both buildings. And, we are a community of workhorses. That goes to show with our preschool playground that had to be built in 2018, grant dollars built was able to supply the equipment and the fencing, but those dollars ran out, and our community came together and found the importance and the value of that before school started. And in the hot summer months, they built that playground so that when we started our playground, they were able to do that 100% community volunteers, as well as a lot of landscaping at both of our buildings. Our buildings are 13 miles apart. The high school is in Brookville, and the grade school is out in the middle of the country. Our address is actually Salina. So they spend a lot of time making our schools look good and appealing to those around us. The power structure, there's limited observable structure in our district just based on the nature of how our district looks, being so spread out in the agricultural base. But in my opinion, those social circles of those housing developments or athletic event parents or those little small communities of Headville, Bavaria, or Brookville, those social circles can tend to have a lot of power when it comes to making decisions or making influence on other activities. Multicultural issues, we have those immigrant families that come in to work at those ranches, bring great opportunities of learning to our schools for those other individuals that are English speaking. That native language communication is really what we have to work on. Their workplaces struggle with that and kind of rely on the school to help with communication, even though it's their place to do that communication. But it's also an area that we all can improve on, that flexibility. And another issue is sometimes our rural versus urban living conditions. Sometimes those agricultural families really struggle with what the urban families are bringing out, and the urbans are feel left out of being in agricultural based conversations. So those are both areas that we can always improve on. To understand the public opinion of my community, there's often community climate surveys. Also, a lot of information is gathered informally through school and community events. The utilization of communication channels, we have a lot of written communication and a lot of oral. Digital is not something that has been embraced quite yet in that community, but between written and word of mouth, we get the job done. One area I think that we can embrace is the non-traditional cultural traditions of those families that are moving in to work at those ranches, and then some that stay and they have what they call their Mexican rodeos. I think there's opportunities for some of our other community members to learn from that and see how that works and make their own events even better. That sense of family that happen at those events is just amazing, and it's just another opportunity for us to get better. And then this is the reference I use to gather information about our district.